At Forex.com, you can take your investment strategy beyond borders
and trade the world's leading currencies 24 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Go to Forex.com today, open a free practice account,
and experience the excitement of OTC currency trading risk-free.
Go to Forex.com and start trading currencies today.
I think the collapse of the Prudential deal is a very positive thing for the city. I mean, for a long time, the received wisdom was that the power of the underwriting banks would be enough to force the deal through, even though a lot of the shareholders were not convinced. But as the days went by, the weeks went by, and the Prudential made more and more mistakes when it came to marketing its deal and presenting its deal, it became increasingly obvious that this deal would probably collapse. And a few days before the collapse, it was clear that it was over. I think it's a great development because it shows that the buy side of the city, the fund managers, insurance companies, the people that buy shares, the people who fund these companies, has gained a lot of power over the sell side, the investment banks and the others. I think that's quite a healthy development. It's good that both sides take it in turns to have power really, rather than that the whole thing is dominated entirely by the investment banks. So it's good news. It shows that shareholder democracy is alive and well. In fact, more than alive and well, it shows that shareholders don't want to push through or to allow some of these ridiculous mega mergers that destroy value and never really pay off. So I think that's a big development, and had we seen more of that a few years ago, perhaps RBS would not have been able to buy ABN AMRO and the credit crunch would have looked a lot milder in this country. This is a very dire development for the management of Prudential, especially the chief executive and also the chairman. I think both now need to step down as soon as possible really and need to be replaced. Now, a lot of people are saying this, but so far there's no sign of it actually happening. Maybe next week there's a general meeting early next week. We have to see what actually happens. But I think they've just wasted too much money. They've wasted hundreds of millions of pounds in break fees. They've wasted months of time in terms of strategy and management time and so on. They have to go. Their strategy has failed. It's time to move on and to replace the top team. The spill of BP is starting to spiral out of control, despite all this, the latest developments about trying to stem the spill. It's turned into a complete disaster for the company. Its share price has collapsed, and because of its huge importance to the FTSE 100, and because BP pays out single-handedly £1 out of every £7 that's received in dividends among FTSE 100 companies. Now that's a massive disaster for all investors, for institutional investors, for pension funds, for insurance companies, for everybody who owns shares in BP, and in fact anyone who owns UK assets. So it's a major business story now. It's evolved from being an environmental story to a major business story. And BP's been floundering, unfortunately. They just don't have the ability for some reason to stem this, and quite a dangerous development therefore. So what does that actually mean for oil companies in general? Well, probably not too much in the short term, although people are going to be much more wary about investing in the US because it increasingly seems that the Obama administration wants to crack down on them very heavily. There's even talks about the US component being nationalised or BP being forced to quit the US. There's also a lot of pressure on BP to stop its dividends and to just pay a lot more money in compensation. So that's the first development. And the second development is a broader financial development, which is because BP's value has shrunk so much, the FTSE 100 is now much more diversified. The banking sector, weirdly, is now worth more again than the oil sector for the first time in quite a while. So quite a lot of very important changes here, and I think one can't underestimate the importance of this BP story. I think it's quite right for companies that can wait to hold off on IPO to do so. Those that are coming to the market, such as Jupiter, are pricing themselves quite low. So it's probably in the interest of shareholders, at least shareholders are not too desperate to raise money or to exit their investments, to hold off from their floats. We keep hearing of new companies announcing a delay, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I suspect we will see more of that, unless the market suddenly bounce back over the next few weeks.
Go to Forex.com and start trading currencies today.